Hi everybody, Coyote season is upon us here, and we know you have questions, a lot of questions about the Coyotes this season. Our producers here at AZ Central Sports are about to put me on the spot to answer some of the most pressing questions about this season.
Clayton Keller got paid, but will he be able to produce?
Well, for what it's worth, Clayton Keller has looked great this preseason. 2 goals, 2 assists in his first 3 preseason games. He's looked like a rejuvenated player. He spent time training in Arizona this summer, which was something he did before his rookie season. He scored 65 points. Of course, almost a 20-point drop-off last season in his sophomore campaign. But Clayton Keller has looked like his old self. He's playing much better without the puck, getting involved in those little things, doing the things that the Coyotes asked him to do after his down season last year. So whether or not he's going to produce up to that new contract, you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say at this point. Is he going to play with Phil Kessel? Is he going to play with Derek Stepan? You know, it's kind of hard to say at this point, but he's looked good in preseason, so he's going to hope that continues on to the regular season.
Is Barrett Hayden ready for the NHL?
I think by all accounts, Barrett's ready. I don't really think he has anything else to learn in Sault Ste. Marie, his junior hockey club, and in the OHL. You know, he's been there for 2 years. He was the captain there last year. Had a little bit of an injury, but he was still nearly a 2-point-per-game player down there in the OHL. So I don't really know if he has anything else to learn. For those who are unaware, players who are under 20 can't play in the AHL if they have their CHL rights retained. So basically, Barrett Hayden either has to play with the Coyotes in the NHL or go back to play junior hockey. I don't think that would be best for his development. I think it would be in the Coyotes' best interest to find a regular spot for him in the lineup and see what he can do.
Is there a goalie controversy brewing between Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta?
Yeah, I think the goalie controversy is a little bit overblown. Obviously, if there's health concerns with those goaltenders, things change a little bit. But, you know, these guys are both starters, and I think it takes 2 capable goaltenders to win in the NHL these days. You very rarely see goaltenders going over 60 games played per season. You're going to see a lot of, you know, 40-40 splits, maybe 45-35. You're going to see a lot more games like that. So I think it would be in the Coyotes' best interest to have both of these guys there. Obviously, Antti Ranta signed for 1 more year after this year. Darcy Kemper's contract ends after this season. And how these 2 perform are going to have big implications on whether or not either one of them or just one of them are going to be signed here long term.
Will Rick Tocchet truly be the Phil Kessel whisperer?
Will he be the Phil Kessel whisperer? I think the Coyotes and Coyotes fans are certainly hoping so. It's hard to ignore all of the stories that have come out of, you know, Toronto and Pittsburgh after Kessel's departure. All those stories about sort of unhappy endings there. But Phil Kessel seems genuinely excited to be in Arizona. We obviously know he has a great relationship with Rick Tocchet, who was an assistant coach in Pittsburgh. They won 2 cups together in 16 and 17, so they have a good friendship. Will that dynamic change with Tocchet as a head coach? I'm sure it will, but I don't think it's going to change that much. I've always thought that Rick Tocchet is a little bit more like an assistant coach than most head coaches are. I think the biggest concern is whether or not Kessel is going to be able to produce at the same level, playing with some less talented centers. That's not a knock on Arizona's system, but they don't have a Sidney Crosby and they don't have an Evgeny Malkin. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Kessel puts points up, and I don't necessarily know if we're going to be able to judge Rick Tocchet on that. I think those are 2 separate issues.
Will the Coyotes make the playoffs, and how many games will they win?
I think the Coyotes are a playoff team this year. I think it would be a massive disappointment if they weren't. When you go out and, again, you get a guy like Phil Kessel and you start to sign these young players to big contracts, a lot of players getting raises this year. If you don't make the playoffs, that is a massive, massive disappointment. And in terms of games they win, you know, it's hard to say. I think, you know, again, you're putting me on the spot here. You know, I think this is a team that's going to win more games than they did last year. I'll say that. I think they're going to win more games than last year. I don't know if they're going to capture one of the 3 top spots in the Pacific, but I absolutely think this is a wild card team. And if it's not, it'd be a very, very big disappointment, and we would have to start questioning some of these moves that John Chaika has made to, you know, put these core players in place and decide if, you know, these are the right players.